please keep those bells ringing. And I'm going to bring up our LNC candidates. So, well, it happens. It's live TV.
Hey. Howdy.
How's it going, guys? How are you? So we got historian Dave Benner. We've got the Shah of Iran, Stephen Nekhalia, and we've got the Pink Flame of Liberty, Caryn Harlos. Oh, we've got Aaron Harris, the host of our podcast, Decentralized Revolution, with us as well. So honestly, guys, I'm going to kind of just give you a little nudge, and I want to let you be the stars of the show here while I go get some water. And basically just let you guys bounce around each other. What is your vision for the Libertarian Party in this upcoming regime? You know, what are the problems that we're trying to solve, and how do you feel about the future of the party? And I'm going to go wet the whistle. I'll be right back.
Hey guys, I'm going to watch the comments and stuff like that. Do you want me to, if there's a good question, interject or? Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. I'll kind of watch that, but Mike, I just turned my mic on so I could hear you. Or you're going to introduce them, then you're going to bounce?
We already did. We're off. I'm going to get water. I'll be right back.
We're doing it live, Aaron. We're doing it live.
It's live. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm a rookie at this.
Well, all I want just to apologize for the weak voice right away. For those who don't know, I'm on the tail end of a not mild case of COVID. I got hit pretty hard, but like all the major COVID symptoms are gone, but the COVID fog, the COVID sore throat, the COVID cough is still here. All I can say is, I'm always one of the people who look on the weird bright side of things. And no offense to you, Stephen Nekhalia, on this. In a weird way, getting booted from the LNC has been a blessing in disguise. I always try to look at things that way because no offense again to you, Stephen, but I am so glad to be far away from the blast radius of this self-implosion that we are witnessing. I feel bad for the good guys like you, but I know you're keeping the fort, and I really appreciated what you just said on that vote. But if I'm not my usual Energizer Bunny self, it's COVID.
Well, your energy, Caryn, at COVID is still like 110% of my energy. So totally understand. No worries. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I am. And actually where I was going with that is I actually think getting COVID when I did was a blessing in disguise because better then than right before Reno, right? So if I was going to get super sick, I'm glad it happened a month. And now I've got, I've got that natural immunity. And I'm grateful for that. I know people think I'm like so weird for looking on the bright side of a lot of things, but I actually think.
Hang on, I'm sorry. I have to cut you off real quick. That was a $777 donation from fucking Scott Horton. Thank you very much, Scott.
Right.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just got the water. I trust you didn't tell them about like the white nationalist stuff.
No, that's for later.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so sorry. Keep going. Don't let me. You guys are the star of the show.
Well,
I think the three of you
Let me piggyback. So I just want to say Region 2 is outflanking you guys here because me and Steven are representing. Steven's running for at-large. I'm running for Region 2 representative, and I can't be more enthusiastic right now than I am. This is the most energized I've ever seen a segment of the party going into a national convention, and I can't wait to be on the same executive committee as you two. I'll just say one of the reasons I decided to run is because I think this LNC has been tepid, feckless, and cowardly in the face of the COVID regime. And I see kind of the same thing right now when it goes to ignoring the militarization of Eastern Europe. And we want to just bring a really fierce message that's anti-Fed, anti-war, anti-drug war in a way that hasn't really been brought forward in the last few years. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just I'm running for at large, as you know, and it's kind of funny to think that am I technically old guard? Because I feel like I've been in the LNC since I've been in diapers. So
you're the establishment.
But I'm really looking forward to it. I love the energy. Being Florida State Chair, I've seen a lot of the energy from a lot of the Mises guys that have been coming on and gals that have been coming on board. And one of the things we've been in short supply of for a long time is that young, ferocious energy. And that vitality that we've just been missing for a long time, and to have some fresh bodies to come in, to have that same energy come in, it's really nice to see, and I really I'm looking forward to the LNC being a force to be reckoned with as far as the messaging, as far as the executive vision, as far as getting libertarians aligned on what we want to accomplish, and actually having a plan and moving forward on it. And that to me is, you know, what professional parties do. They energize, they have a plan, and then they attack it. So I really like the crew that's coming on. I've met most of the slate from the Mises Caucus, and the guys I know, like Dave, like Caryn, Todd Hagopian, and others. Just really, really great guys. It's going to be a great team, and it's going to be an awesome, awesome convention. I can't wait to see everybody over there.
We just got a $500 donation from Stefan Kinsella, and you know, we're getting donations from heavyweights, and we need to recognize that. I don't know if you guys get the joke, but it's there.
Oh no, I didn't get it, but you know, Stefan has been a very generous contributor to my campaign, and has been a supporter of my show for the longest time, and I'm so grateful for him. Obviously, like very many other people, he turned me on IP. I don't think the man realizes sometimes the influence that he has. I think sometimes a lot of us don't realize that the influence that we have, but yeah. And a little known trivia fact. So if there's ever like a trivia game, Stefan knows this, but a lot of people don't know. It's one of his articles that pushed me over the edge into anarchism. So he's very special to me. I mean, a lot of people helped me along the way, but his article that's entitled, I'm going to get something. It's close. It's close enough for you to Google it. It's something to the effect of the moral irrelevance of the impossibility of anarcho-libertarianism, because the thing that was holding me back was, yeah, but is this possible? And of course, now I do believe it is possible, but that article is so great on showing, at least to me, on how ethical positions aren't dependent upon their possibility. Like, we all wish there were no murders. Is that ever going to happen? Probably not. But I would hope everyone in this room holds to the position there should be no murder. And so I owe a great debt, sorry, coughing, to Stefan.
And I don't know, Stefan, if you remember this, but like 10 years ago. I'm pretty
sure it's Stefan. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it's Stefan.
Oh, sorry. Stefan.
He's a heavyweight, guys. He is a heavyweight. You got to get it right. It's Stefan.
Mr. Kinsella. I remember this, but like 10 years ago at FIU, you actually like Zoom conferenced we had a Young Americans for Liberty meeting, and you gave a whole presentation on IP, which really got my brain turning on IP, and I think that's really fantastic. And you know, all the pieces of the puzzle in libertarianism, you know, the Rothbards and the Kinsellas and the Misesians and everybody, we are an ideological movement as much as we are a political one. I think that's what makes the Libertarian Party so special and so dear and near to my heart, is that, you know, we have this ideology which drives us and which connects us, and yeah, it's thanks to all the brainiacs and the intellectuals and the heavyweights. So yeah, thank you.
I was going to pull that up. Thank you, Aaron. So we got a audience comment here. I think that's a great question, because this is something that I've seen that's honestly scared me on a borderline spiritual level in this whole project is, you know, how many people have we watched join the LNC and become nuts, or maybe they're just nuts when they got there, or what? But something about it seems to make people nuts. How do you guys plan to you know, resist the golem?
I can speak on that. And first, I'll say, join libertarianism at night. Somebody donated $5 for me to tell you guys that. So let's talk about LNC corruption and sort of people going crazy on the LNC. Yeah, let's start with corruption. I mean, you guys saw what happened with JBH and the whole New Hampshire thing and this and that. I mean, that was outright corruption. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was awful. And anybody who can defend that, I really don't know what to say. Really, it comes down to picking your people, picking who we work with, and holding them accountable also once they're in position. As far as people going crazy and going off the rails, you know, politics it can be very intense at times. And I think people have this propensity to get emotional And then what they do is they get into these fights and they put their pride on the line, and then they have to defend their prime. So it just spirals. And I think it's very objective to be, when you're in politics, is to not only be objective, but to look at other people like a mineralogist looks at a rock and just say, oh, that's interesting. That's the way that person is. That's the way the situation is. And to be grounded when going into very emotional situations like we've had this morning or yesterday with the current vote in the LNC, is how do you approach something objectively and not let mob mentality or group emotions, group think, drag you in a certain direction because the emotions are contagious. So I think that's one really important, thing to do, is not give into, the mob or emotion, but to be based on principles. And as far as LNC corruption, communication, to make sure to see what people are doing, what's going, hey, why are you doing that? Is it corruption, or is it just, somebody acting really silly and stupid and flying by the seat of their pants, which can look like corruption, but sometimes it's just lack of expertise. But sometimes it's corruption, and it comes down to electing the right folks. So
to me, it's also to embrace transparency. I know one thing that Caryn and Harlos is big on, and I totally agree with her on this, is the abuse of the secretive LNC business list. The bylaws are very specific about which items can be discussed on that list, and I don't want any more abuses of that. Using it to discuss things that aren't relevant, that should be out in the open, to that main LNC business list, things like that. We really need to embrace transparency, argue with each other in good faith, or debate intra-party matters in good faith, and really hold each other accountable.
There's I obviously have a little bit to say about this. It's another one of those weird blessing in disguise situations that, where I try to look on the bright side of things, where I tell people, don't be discouraged that about all of this corruption on the LNC, because in the two old parties, you'd never hear about it. So the fact that the general party member knows this is going on, I actually think is a sign that we're still worth fighting for. And I know that may sound really weird. I am also really weirdly grateful for the opportunity to be removed for standing up for what was right. Because here's the thing. None of us know what we're going to do when push comes to shove, when something's really going to cost you something. So I'm glad I passed that test. But you have to you can't be backward looking. There's only so long we can sit here and go, oh, this past LNC was so terrible. The minute this convention is over, we need to forget about this past LNC. And I do think a very genuine concern members have, and if they don't have it, they should have it. It's legitimate, is how do you transition from, oh my God, this past LNC was so terrible, to becoming a functioning body again. And I think one of that, the main way is what Dave said, and it is through transparency and allowing members a voice, even when they say things you don't like. There had been, and this was cultivated by JBH, because he scolded me for this in front of everybody, by the way. He actually said something to Stephen, you may remember this. He said something, there are actually people on this body who said that they are on this body in order to protect the party from us. And yep, I'm one of those people. And he was like, that's a terrible attitude to have. Really? Well, I just understand how power is, and power corrupts. And yes, I do believe that all of us should be on this body, not just to serve the body, but to also protect the body from our own very human propensity to allow even the tiniest bit of power to corrupt us. It can happen to anybody, and even the tiniest bit of power. The joke is the amount of infighting is inversely proportional to the amount of power there actually is. And I think we need to start having things like, we started this in Colorado, quarterly town halls, where we let members come and say what they want. We'll like what some of them say. we will not like what one of them say. And when the LNC gets criticized, rather than circling the wagons, which is the culture that JBH put into this LNC, we need to step back and go, well, maybe there's something
It was before
there.
him. It was before him.
Well, he openly, though, Stephen will know if he thinks back to the very beginning of the term. And we have to realize that when we criticize each other, that we're doing it out of love for the party, to not take it personally and act like somebody ran over our dog. Stephen and I have gotten into arguments, but I mean, some serious like drag, but we've never doubted that each other loved the party. And we've never doubted that we loved each other. We might not like each other at that particular moment, but we've never, ever, made it personal. And something went wrong. Something got very dysfunctional along the way with this LNC, where a certain portion started taking criticism personally. And you can't be in politics and at the highest level of the third largest political party if you can't separate out your person from somebody who might be criticizing your view or your job performance. So I think openness and discussion, and being willing to be criticized without, again, acting like somebody ran over your dog, is what's going to take us forward. And we need to, because there's going to be people who are going to be very unhappy after Reno because their side didn't win, just like we would be unhappy if our side didn't win. We really don't know what's going to happen, but I think the writing's pretty much on the wall, if we're going to be honest. And I think it's very important to us to listen to those people and not be sore winners.
Caryn is absolutely right. I mean, communication is key. And that's why, in the Libertarian Party of Florida, what we started doing when I became chair three years ago, every Sunday, I like to say that every Sunday is for the Lord and the LP, because every Sunday at 7:30 we have a meeting. And it's either a meeting of the executive committee, a meeting of the officers, a general membership meeting, or a meeting with the chairs of our committees. And because we have that constant communication, if there's something we want to say, if there's something we want to get off our chest, if there's something we want to work on, we have the opportunity then to do so. So it's really important for the next LNC when they go in, and something I think this LNC and the last LNC is, and maybe even further back LNCs are all guilty of, is the lack of communication, goal setting, alignment, and execution. Because if you're working in a team, you want to get everybody on the same page. You want to make sure everybody's aligned on the goals. You want to make sure you have metrics to achieve those goals, and you want to execute. And so it's so important that everybody feels, whatever ends up happening after Reno, that the party as a whole has goals, and we're aligned on these things, and that everybody feels included in some way and has a way to participate. Because even though if they don't like me or like Caryn or like Dave or like whoever, at least they like what we're doing. And that's what drives a party forward. It drives a political movement forward. And I think with all the energy we have going into this year, all the new bodies, all the delegates, all the people on the state affiliates, there's just so much energy that it's going to be the LNC's job to drive that at a national level into being something productive. And we don't want to lose that energy, just not utilizing it or wasting it.
If it's cool with you guys, I want to jump in with one comment on this whole like pushing back corruption thing. I'm going to say something that might go against the grain a little bit. We talk about principles and being principled, and we're a political party based on libertarian principles. That is really, really important that we stick to those core principles, that we embody those core principles, and we put that out there. But there is one thing that is more important than principles, and that's character. Mm-hmm. And if you look at if you go off of say the Lord of the Rings, for example, Sam wasn't able to resist the ring because he was a really good libertarian. That's not the thing that kept him from doing it. It's the characteristics of what made him a hobbit. He's humble. He's got a value system. Those are the things. Character is the real value there. So we're looking to not just re-radicalize the party, although we're trying to raise the character of the party, because that's the example we have to give the rest of the world in order to make our ideas palatable and believable.
And I want to say one thing for those listening and everybody here that's, in the caucus and the party or doing something out in your locality, running for office, etc. And I'm sorry about the background noise. If I get some background noise, I'll try to mute myself. Which is, this idea that power corrupts. Absolutely. I disagree with. I actually think that in reality, everyone is seeking power. We just need to be intentional about doing so. Or in other words, everybody, I don't care who you are, seeks power at some fundamental human-based level. What's important to me is that the right people are the ones looking to gain power. You've probably seen it in my tagline. It's in Latin, impotentes defender libertatem non possunt. Those without power cannot defend freedom. And that's why it's so important for the righteous to stand up and be the ones to actually take power, because that power is going to attract something. And a lot of times that power, is going to attract the wrong type of people that are mediocre, that have just terrible character and bad personalities, and they like to build walls around themselves and only surround themselves with yes men, and then they're disconnected from the people on the ground, and then you have a complete disconnect. And in a political movement, it's so vital that the leadership is, in a sense, righteous, in a sense, has power but respectable authority. And so I would encourage everyone who's looking to how to get involved, that is of good character, to start seeking leadership positions, to start seeking local office, to start building your teams based upon that idea that power can be a good thing, as long as it's in the right hands.
All right, guys, we got 4 minutes left, so I want to give you guys each the opportunity to give a closing statement. Dave, I definitely in your closing statement want you to mention the book you're writing.
Well, thanks, Michael. I'm not here for that, but I have finished on a book on Thomas Paine called Thomas Paine, A Lifetime of Radicalism, and that will be out around Thanksgiving. Thanks for plugging that, but I really am interested in what is the future will hold for the LP, and it'll be with all 4 of you in some way, 3 of you on the executive committee, and 1 of you working in the leadership of the caucus. And I can't state how driven that I feel knowing that the best messengers in the movement are behind us. The heroic Tom Woods, the colossal Dave Smith, that's an incredible messenger, the foremost foreign policy expert, Scott Horton, Michael Rechtenwald, Jeff Dice, the list goes on. It really drives me to continue my work and to know that, what we're bringing to the table is worthy and it's valuable. And I want to share that with all of you. If you're going to Reno in Region 2, please consider voting for me. Reach out to me. I'll hear you out. Even if you don't agree with me on various ways I vote on the LNC, I will hear you out. So thanks for having us, and let the Reno reset commence.
Before the other 2 go, I just want to give the audience one little factoid that I think is interesting, is this hyper white-pilled version of Dave Benner. He's been one of our organizers in Tennessee for a while, and I remember when we first got started, he was a little trepid, I don't know if it's going to work out, I don't know if this, and now it's like, and he's, it's beaming off of him, the white pilledness. So
better pastures, yeah, greener pastures now, Michael.
Awesome. Go ahead, guys. Steve, you're up.
Awesome. Yeah. So just a quick little bit about me. I just want to say that I've been on the LNC for about 6 years now, serving side by side. I think Caryn has been as long as me. Florida State Chair, businessman. I run about 11 or 12 now restaurants, from fast food to full service. Been doing this stuff for a long time, and I look forward to your support in Reno. I look forward to serving side by side with these fine folks, and a future that we're going to have together to put the party in a more forward, positive, more authentic, and a more just a better direction. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there. I'm really excited. And I want to thank you all for being on the show tonight. Donate, help get delegates out to Reno, and be a part of the Reno Reset.
Thank you. And then Den Mother Harlos.
Oh boy, the amount of trouble that joke got me into. It's unreal. There's almost an unbroken line on that led to my removal. I'm going to just blame you guys. I want to refocus, because a lot of people have said, it's so easy to to grow into the role of the perpetually aggrieved martyr. And how are you going to, you know, move past that? Very easily. It's very tiring being the perpetually lathered up martyr. What my vision is and what my hope is to get back to my first love, why I ran. One of the reasons I ran up for the LNC to begin with, one obviously is to protect members and affiliates, but the other is party education and party history. And I just had an interview with Reason Magazine the other day, and it reminded me of what I used to love about being in leadership, because Brian Dougherty was just asking me, hey, how does the platform vote work? And what are the bylaws on that? And what's the procedure? And I know most people would rather gnaw their own foot out of a bear trap than like talk about that sort of thing. But we need all different kinds in this party. And that's the stuff I love. I want to get back to teaching the average party member how to be a productive member of this party, how the bylaws work, how to protect their rights, you know, the basics of Roberts. And, you know, and I do think that is a basic function of the secretarial. I kind of view us as the party librarian. Very, very boring. And I look forward to being boring again. Make Caryn Ann boring again.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. You know, it's been a privilege to support you guys. Can't wait for the party under your guys' leadership. And, you know, there is a lot to look forward to. I know out in the world, the news is getting dark, but it's always darkest before dawn. And you know, we can make the party that dawn, and we need to. We really need to. So, like, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Long live the Mises Caucus, and see y'all in Reno.
Yes, and thank you. And thank you, Mises Caucus members, for all the support you'd given me even before I was a member. To me, that speaks to the character issue, and that's why I joined. I joined. You guys had character, and you had my back when I was being done wrong, and I'll never forget that.
Open door, Wayne spotted.
Close the door.
All right, well, guys, I can talk to you all night, but we got Michael Rechtenwald in the back end here, so I'm gonna remove you. But I will see you all in Reno.